Alright, yo, what up, what up, what up? Welcome to the solar system series known as Fixed Fire. We talk about the only fixed fire sign in the zodiac, and this specific zodiac wheel known as Leo. Now, the specific planet that we're talking about today will be Mercury. So, Mercury in Leo. And as you well know, before we get into any of the sign and trait specifics of the specific alignment, we have to talk about the planet in general. So, Mercury. What is Mercury? Mercury is the planet tied to the third house, and if you're wondering where this part of the body that is tied to, the third house is tied to, basically from below your nose to the bottom of your armpits in a way. You know, it deals with your arms, your nervous system, your teeth, your vocal cords, all that shit that goes on in this area of the body. You know what I'm saying? So, from an astrological point of view, Mercury is the planet of thinking and communication. So it rules the architect of the mind, how you construct your thoughts, how you communicate, your communication style, so on and so forth. If you kind of want to look at this planet as what's the word? As kind of like a family member per se. This would be sort of like the toddler age, or like the little bro age, you know, the little kid that likes to be a part of the situations, you know, but it's always got to ask why and what's going on and how does that make any sense in regards to you know, whatever situation or experience you're going through. So, with that being said, how does this play out through Leo? Well, before we get to that, we got to talk about Leo itself. So, Leo is born from the fifth house. The fifth house is just the general life situation of expression and emitting light itself. You know, these are all the variations of entertainment, whether it's what you're entertained by or who you're entertaining or how you yourself are entertained. It's your creativity, you know, some people say child rearing to some extent. And then it's also I mean, there's other things that go into it, but I'm blanking, so I'm going to segue into something else. So, being that this is what Leo is born through, we have to, this is like the overarching influence of like life situations that we'll try to, you know, stem its knowledge base from, stem its influence from, and are sort of act in as well. So, with that being said, let's move on to fixed fire. Fixed fire is being fixated on your own way of seeing and feeling. So it's like your fixed perspective. Anytime you have a fixed sign, these signs become self-actualized and understand themselves a lot quicker because they have nothing else to focus on besides whatever they're fixating on, right? So, with that being in mind, how can we imagine this? Well, anytime you hear fixed fire, I want you to think of like a fire in a fireplace, right? You know, it still carries the same vibration of you know, light, fire, as like any of the other fire signs would, except you can always count on where it'll be at and when it'll be on and who's starting it. You know what I'm saying? So, unlike Aries, it's not just the spark of the lightning bolt, and unlike Sagittarius, it's not like a freaking, you know, a freaking ring of tiki torches around looking at things and understanding perspective from every different angle that it possibly can, you know? It's the one angle, it's the one specific space, it's the singular fire emitted in this enclosed space. So, it may not have, you know, the initiating and the sparking part done, and it may not have the, you know, the overarching awareness of everything, but you better be damn sure that it knows itself. And with this being in Mercury, this is obviously going to come through your communication style and the way you think. So, with that being said, let's start getting into these traits a little bit. Oh, wait, right. I gotta talk about the planets. You know how I always in a video, you know what's going on, man. I might forget something here. I might pick up something there. You know, I'm kind of in the ethereal realm, just grasping on what I can from source. So, you know how it goes. Anyways, so the planets that goes with Leo is it's ruled by the sun. Some people say it's exalted in Neptune, but, you know, outer planets, so you know how that goes. And then it is away in Saturn, so it doesn't actually like to work to create these structures, but you know how it goes. Sometimes it finds a fireplace, sometimes it doesn't, you know. It may stay in one place, it may not like to build another, it is what it is. Anyways, moving back to the traits, let's talk about this. So, being that this is the planet of thinking and communication, looking through the lens of Leo, you are very, you're very, like, kind of grandiose in how you think. And it's not exactly like Aries, where you're going to be, like, you know, super expressive when you're thinking and, like, you just get an idea and you're like, ugh, you know, light bulb moment, bing! You know, it's not exactly going to be like that. It's going to be sort of like, you know, you're sitting back, you're thinking, you're like, damn, ain't this some shit? Like, this is, oh my God, this thought's crazy. And you might go through it some time. But, you have more of this, like, comfort in the fact that, like, you know this subject, you understand this subject, you understand this subject, you overstand this subject. You have all the stands possible on this subject, but you're fixated on one single subject. So you're very confident in your perspective and what you know and what you think about it. And like when it's like sort of stems into communication, it may come off to that extent, you know? Like you may sound a little bossy, you may sound a little forceful, and what the fuck? You may sound a little stop fucking doing that. You may sound like a little forceful in your voice, just like what I was saying, like I was saying to my buddy up in the freaking astral realm, you know what I'm saying? Like he somehow, some way, he got a spirit to knock off a freaking chip of wood from the freaking roof I got going on here, and it just distracted me. But the way that I said it will sort of give an example of like how Leos will speak. You know, it's very bossy, very defending, very certain in what they're saying. You know, like when you're like setting the stage and you're like the center of attention, if you have to be if you aren't certain when you're the center of attention, I don't know what's going on. Like, how could you not, like, if you're just communicating like that, like, yeah, it may be this influence, but obviously people are gonna tell it's like, you know, he's not as certain as what he was saying before, you know. Like in this situation, I understand my perspective of how I feel and how I see about somebody fucking with my wall. This took a lot of hard work to build. It took a lot of hard work to get all of these holds, and it took a lot of hard work to put all this together and enjoy it for myself. And I have a lot of energy built up in this space, so I definitely have my fireplace in how I see and feel about somebody fucking with my wall. So I am not going to be happy when somebody breaks it, and I'm not going to, you know, yell at a person. I'm not going to be like, hey, fuck you, motherfucker. I don't give a fuck about how you exist. I don't give a fuck about how you came into the world. All I care about is taking you out, you know? It's not going to be like that right away, per se, but it's like, it's going to be like, you know, like I said, I'm certain how I feel. I'm certain how I see the situation of someone really fucking with my wall. I don't want it. I ain't having it. I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen again, you know? This is how Leos communicate in like and how they just like where their mental space is coming from, where they're talking about a specific thing that is aligned with their perspective. If they overhear something that's talking about their specific perspective and how they see and feel about something, you're gonna be damn right they're gonna hop in, because they know about a subject. They know how they feel about a subject. They know they can communicate about a subject. They know they can do this, that, and the third in regards to how they feel about a certain subject. So you will be fucking sure that you will hear about them sort of, I mean, I don't want to say like take over the conversation, but they will they will interject and make themselves known and make their perspective known on a certain subject. So, for instance, if you know that a freaking Mercury and Leo person is going to roll up and just talk about a certain situation in regards to, you know, the topic of conversation, and you're in like a debate team or something like that, you may be a little wary about you're inviting them because you're the head of the debate team and you don't want them taking your goddamn light, because you know all that they're going to do in regards to their mental space is take light. Attract attention. Just be that themselves. Be that person that's like, hey, I know about this, and this. I know about this, that. I'm going to talk about it because I'm confident in my perspective. I'm confident in my flame. I'm confident in my mentality that I'm emitting into this world. You know what I'm saying? And people are going to recognize that. People are going to give attention back to that person, you know? They may, like, you shouldn't, if you, like, talking about the debate team example, if you are the leader of this debate team, you may want to recognize that, like, if you, like, took this person aside and said, hey, you know, I'm the leader here, I need you to respect it, I need you to do this, and you actually come at them with a place of common decency and show them the respect first, a Mercury and Leo person can't do any, like, unless they're a douche, like, they'll most likely be like, hey, man, okay, thanks for taking me aside, I appreciate it, I'll help work with you, you know what I'm saying? Like, they will, you know, they're not dickheads, man. They know what's going on. They understand, like, the perspective and the situation, like, not as a general sense, but if you express your perspective to them, like the way they would to you, if they feel the way about a certain subject, they would be glad to help you and make sure to, like, you know, springboard your way and give that attention to you. Now, you may have noticed that through all of this, I've been talking with my hands and being, you know, very Italian in the way I speak. Like, hey, you know, like, with this, that, you know, linguini. And, you know, but you have to remember that, like, when I'm talking about these things, like I said, I am channeling from a source, I shouldn't say from a source, I'm channeling from source in general what this means, and I'm architecting it using my Mercury and being expressive in the way that I talk about it, you know? So when I'm doing these things, I will be channeling the exact sign to some extent and showing you in a physical example of how this plays out, you know? Remember what I said in the beginning. Mercury and the third house rules the nervous system. So when I'm feeling Mercury and Leo-y, I'm going to be very expressive and attention-grabbing in the way that I freaking Mercury and Leo, you know? That's the whole fucking point, you know? And then my other kind of point that I wanted to talk about with Mercury and Leo is how they're sort of like diplomatic in a sense. And it's not like, I don't want to say it's like diplomatic in like a political sense. It's sort of just like when you're like confident in your perspective and how you view something, you will be seen as a leader because you have solidified your perspective and your mentality and the angle you're coming from on a given subject, you know? This is why Mercury and Leo people are leaders. This is why, you know, a lot of like, I shouldn't say Mercury and Leo people are necessarily leaders, but they're very good at being the architect of a subject and like explaining it to people, you know? They know how to get the vision across. They know how to make like a large group of people see the vision. They know how to be the center of attention when they speak. They know how to be the center of attention like for their thoughts and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So of course they will be able to I don't want to say they'll be able to like see the whole perspective of an argument or see the whole perspective of a group, but they'll be able to understand their perspective, get everybody's individual story, and then do the hard work that like a Mercury and Sagittarius person would be able to understand, but not necessarily communicate, you know, because they're like all out here, out there, out here, out there, and it doesn't really work with Mercury and Leo. You know, it doesn't really work with Sagittarius, doesn't work with Mercury to begin with. You know, well, I mean, it can, but, you know, like, I mean, for you Mercury and Sagittarius is out there, you know that it's just kind of like, it doesn't work, man. The shit just opposes, man. It's not happy about it, man. Mercury is like, fuck this. I don't want to fucking hear about, I don't want to hear about the meaning and reasonings to why this is going on. I'm trying to just figure out what's going on right here. Like, why the hell did I dig that hole over there for a freaking plot in my garden? And like, you know, there was a freaking concrete slab with burnt wood from something that used to be there. You know, I don't care about the meaning and reasoning behind that. I want to find someone with a cement grave or a cement shoes or some type of weird shit like that, or even a foundation to something old that burned down. I don't want to hear about the bad juju. I just want to plant my goddamn, you know, raised bed so I can plant my fucking garden. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like sorry about that tangent, but you know how it goes. Like this is why they freaking oh, yo, I just lost my freaking place. I gotta get it back. Okay. I got a little off tangent. I was talking about Mercury and Sagittarius. I was trying to segue back into Mercury and Leo. Now let's segue back into Mercury and Leo and why they're diplomats, you know? See, like, this, well, that was a perfect example of what I was talking about, you know? Mercury and Sagittarius person would get too distracted, but they would be able to see and articulate, eventually, the whole group perspective situation. Whereas a Mercury and Leo would be able to go in, do the work, and being like, okay, this is where I'm coming from, this is where I'm trying to see it, this is what I see going on, these are the roadblocks that we have as an issue, how can we resolve them? And they'd be able to garner everybody's attention and focus on these necessary topics so that they can, you know, get the, they can find the ungreased cog in the whole railroad system or whatever thing's going on in the system, and they'll be able to, you know, get that gear back moving so that they can move cohesively as a group and get done whatever they need to get done, you know? So this is like what a Mercury and freaking Leo person would be able to do. It may take some time, and it may be predicated on people looking at them as a mental leader, but they do have that capability and they can insert themselves into the situation. Anyways, let's run down the planets and then I gotta get the fuck out of here. So, Mercury, we talked about Mercury and Leo. Mercury is the planet of thinking and communication. Leo is ruled by the sun, and it is away in Saturn, you know, so it doesn't necessarily like doing the work that I may have laid out, but it can do it if it recognizes that this structure is essential to getting the whole crew back moving, you know what I'm saying? And then, I guess that's pretty much it. Anyways, thanks for watching the solar system series known as Fixed Fire, where we talk about the Leo sign, you know, the only freaking fixed fire sign in this ecliptic that we exist in right now. Anyways, thanks for watching. Peace.